Hi, this is the 10-fingered shop teacher. I'm going to go through how to set up a Vault data management system from the ground up using Autodesk Vault Professional 2022. The different topics we're going to discuss in this series include adding users, managing user groups, creating categories, assigning life cycles, and editing those life cycles, how to add different types of files, how to add lots of files all at once, how to use the job processor, and just generally how to set this up for a very simple yet effective data management tool. There's a lot that you can do with Vault Pro, and I might get into some more deeper uh, topics, more specific things that you can tweak with it. But really, this series is focusing on how you can use Autodesk Vault for your file management system. We're not going to go over items. We're not going to go over change orders or anything like that. That'll be a separate series. So let's go ahead and get started checking out Autodesk Vault. Now this Vault is out of the box. I haven't done anything to it. The only thing that you're going to see that I've done things with are with the user groups and users, because once you add those to a server, it doesn't matter which vault that you're using on your server, those users and user groups are always going to be there. So something to keep in mind is make a game plan. Know what kind of groups, what users, what they're going to do. And you're going to hear me say that multiple times throughout the series. Make a game plan. Having a good set of rules foundation to build upon is going to make setting Vault up that much easier. So let's talk about users real quick. So users, you can find all your users in Tools, Administration, Global Settings. Remember, I said the users are on the Vault server, not necessarily just Vault specific. So these are under Global Settings. So you have under the security tab, you have users and groups, which we'll spend a lot of time in. But before we get into there, I want to just point out this roles and permissions. If you go here, as you are going to assign roles and permissions to different users and user groups, it's a good idea to understand what all these roles do in Vault. So some common ones that you'll see are document editor, document manager, administrator, things like that. So this is where you can find some information out on your roles. You can also create your own roles. So if you wanted to create a very, very specific role, you can use that. I have not had any reason to create custom roles, so I just use the out-of-the-box ones. So in the user groups, you have the user tab and you have the group tab. So users are, as you can imagine, single users in the software. If you're a fan of the Firefly series, you should recognize a lot of these names. If you wanted to create a new user, just go to New, and you can create new user, first name new, last name user, and you can go in and assign them an account. Now, I'm not going to go through and assign accounts for every single one of these people. And after I'm done with new user here, I'm going to hit cancel because, like I said, once you create a user, that user cannot be removed from the system. So be careful on who you add. You really want to take a moment and figure out who is needing to edit the documents and who's only going to view the documents. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But under the accounts, you can create a Windows authentication account if you have a domain user. Vault account if you want to give them a specific username and password that you can control, or if you want them to use their Autodesk ID. The way I use Vault at my place of work, we have domain groups, so we actually use Windows authentication. It just gives you that little bit extra security in Vault. So I'm going to hit cancel and cancel, and that's how you can create a user. In the groups, you can create different groups. I highly recommend boiling it down to permissions because you don't want to just lump everyone in the same group and then divide permissions by user. You really want to do it by user groups. So I have an administrator group. You can see I put Malcolm and River in that. contractors, document owners, and read-only. So to make a new group, it's as simple as group name, and then you can link to fill out this information as you need to. And I'll open up one of the ones I have created already to show you what I mean. So let's look at admin. These are the people that have full control over everything in Vault. So you'll see the roles include administrator, project administrator, and security administrator. That's how I'm going to be able to assign permissions to the people in this group. Rather than having to go into Malcolm Andrews' user profile and add this stuff, I can just add it through the group. So much easier. And in vaults, I can say they only have that on the drawing vault. So I can kind of control what vaults they have access to through this user group as well. Hit OK. Contractors. Again, they are document consumer and document editor level 1. And for this example, contractors, they're only going to have editing permissions. They're not going to be able to toggle anything to a new life cycle. They're not going to be able to kind of act on their own. They need somebody, a document owner, oversight on this. So that's why they have very limited permissions here. I'm going to assign them the drawing vault because that's what we're going to be working in. And here are the different people in this group. I have a default administrator role. I'm actually going to remove him from that role from this group and hit OK. Document owners. Again, you can go in here, double click to edit. They have document editor level 2 and 1 and document manager level 1 and 2. So we'll assign them the drawing vault. Hit OK. And then the read only is just document consumer, drawing vault. Okay, so that's how you can set up your different user groups. I highly recommend you break this out into user groups rather than trying to do it by user. This is just much easier. And then something to keep in mind. Your read-only group, your consumer group, if you do not want to have to buy a license to use the full client of Autodesk Vault, make them use the web client. You do not need a license to go through the web client, and the way the web client works, all you're doing is viewing documents. So I use this read-only group kind of as a view only. Those are the individuals that have either access to Vault full client or the web client. I kind of push them, I put them into this group. All right. So again, you have your different users. You can create a new user and then give them all the information that you want to. Like Hoban, we can go into accounts and I can make a Vault account for him, give him a username, give him a password, all that sort of things. Like I said, for this, I'm not going to get into that. I just want the accounts there. And then you can see what group he's in. So after you add a new user, you can actually assign the different groups to him via the user page. So you don't have to go into the groups every time. If you want to create a new domain user, you can just right click anywhere and go to import domain user, and you can search through the domain directory for a user. You can also do an import domain group. So if you know the domain group, you can search it, bring it in. That's just another way to manage users and groups in Autodesk Vault. All right, so now that we have the users and the user groups taken care of, we can go ahead and start setting up Vault with categories and life cycles. To do that, we want to go back into Tools and we want to go into Vault Settings this time. Now remember, we're laying a lot of the foundation bricks right now, so you're not going to see a whole lot happen in the program itself, but we're setting it up to where when we do start adding our files into Vault, they're going to go in seamlessly and they're going to populate with all the properties that we want to see. So in the Vault settings, under behaviors, we'll have categories. Now out of the box, Autodesk fills this up with a bunch of different categories already. You can choose to use these if you don't want to create your own, or you can create your own. Highly recommend you figure out, like I said before, figure out what you want to do and put it in. Once you get into putting documents, creating categories, creating life cycles, creating properties, they're all going to start to intertwine, and it's going to be hard to delete the things that you don't want, or you realize I don't need this anymore. So kind of think about it, keep it simple, and work from that. So let's just add a couple file categories. I'm going to create a new category. I'm going to call it mechanical. I'm going to make this yellow. I'm going to go mech DWGs. And then I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to call this electrical. We're going to go with bright red, DWGs. And then we're going to create one more, and we're going to call this supporting docs. And we'll make this purple. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I create my own custom categories, properties, I keep everything all uppercase. That way I can easily find it if I ever need it in the future. So now that I have those 3 categories created, I'm not going to do anything else with those just yet. Just wanted to get those categories made so I have an idea of what I'm working with. And then as I work on my life cycles, I can start assigning these life cycles to the categories. So let's go close this down and go into life cycles. So just like categories, there's going to be a lot of out-of-the-box life cycles that you can use, or you can create your own. For the purpose of this illustration, I'm going to create my own. And I'm going to call this the CAD life cycle. And this life cycle I want to be applied to the electrical and the mechanical drawings. I can close that. So whenever I categorize a file to the electrical category or the mechanical category, it's going to be assigned this life cycle. Now, a life cycle, much like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly, you have different states that caterpillar goes through. You have different states that the drawings go through in these life cycles involved, and you get to create your own. So I'm going to start with the very first one called design. This is going to be available for editing. This is going to be the state that I want all the editing done in. Okay. Then I'm going to put in an issued state. Issued to the field. If I can type. Issued to the field. So once it's done and the design is done and it's issued, the field has it. Now, it comes back from the field. It's going to go into design to make any changes that we need to make. And at that point in time, it's going to go into a review state. And then after the review state, it's going to go to the master state, which is going to be the in-service state. That is the official document. All right, so those are our 4 lifecycle states that make up the CAD lifecycle. So now we can get into editing these specific states. So we'll start with master. So we're going to be spending a lot of our time in these tabs here. In these tabs, you're going to control a lot of your securities, and you're going to control if you can move these states to another state. Just like with the caterpillar example, you wouldn't go from, you wouldn't want the butterfly to go back to a caterpillar. So there are some states that some transitions that you do not want to make, and that's where we can explain it here. So a master to a design in our drawing illustration, yes, we definitely want that. So we're going to click that, go to edit. You'll have this option once. You just go ahead and click OK and move on. And it's going to bring up the edit box. The only thing we want to really pay attention to right now is the security tab. There are some different things that we can have happen to when we change this from master to design. But again, for this illustration, we're not going to bother with that. So we're just going to go to securities. Uncheck no restrictions, go to add, and we're just going to add our 4 user groups. And We only want document owners and administrators to move a drawing from master to design. So contractors and read-only are denied. Hit OK. What about master to issued? That should not happen because there has to be changes made to the drawing in order for it to go to issued. So we're going to undo that, add our groups again, and we're going to deny all groups. So no one can make that transition from master to issued. Hit OK. Master to review. Again, there's nothing to change, so there should be nothing to review. Add the groups. Deny. What about from design to master? It should go through a review process first. So we are going to make this only the administrator is going to be able to do that. The admin, in my point of view, is a manager for the entire group, and only they will be able to move that from a design to a master, skip the review state. Issued to master, again, should go to a review state. So we're going to add securities, and this is going to be just like the design. Only the administrator is going to be able to do this one. So we're going to deny, deny, allow, deny. And then to review to master, I went to the wrong tab. Review to master, edit. We want to add all 4 groups again. And then we're going to not allow the contractors and not allow the read-only, but document owners and admin can take review and put it in the master. All right, so we have our transitions secured now. Now let's talk about security. Who can view the files? Who can modify the files that are in the master state? And because the master state is an in-service state, uncheck this no state-based security so you can add the different groups. You want to add your 4 groups again, and everyone's going to have read access. No one's going to have modify access. We don't want any changes made while it's in master, and we don't want anybody to be able to delete it while it's in master. And then download, that's something new. I always use it as allow because that allows the downloading files, and in order to view the visualizations in AutoCAD, you have to have that allow. And so I just found that I just leave it to allow for everyone, and it works well. So only people are able to read the drawings while it's in the master state. Control, this is where that read-only comes in. That read-only group comes into play. A released state in Vault is a state that is published to the web client. And if all of our read-only are using the web client, we have to have a release state, at least one. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to see anything. And we can control what versions they see right here. So we're going to make a master a release state. It's going to be published to the web client so our web users can see the master copy. Hit apply, and then we can do the same thing with review. Go to transitions, fill this out. I'm actually going to do this under design just so I can show you a couple different things. But design to issue transition, that is one that we should be able to make. I want to add all 4 of my groups. And then I want to take away the contractor and the read-only permissions to do that. Design to review, yep. Now this is the one that I'm going to let everyone make except for our read-only. Our contractors are going to be doing some drafting, and we want them to be able to put it in a review state so someone can review it. So I'm going to let them do that. And then design to master, again, we already have that because we already worked on the master, so we don't have to go and fill that one out. What about issued to design? Yes. And I'm hitting that wrong tab, aren't I? We want to go have that. And again, we already have that filled out because we worked on it on that first one. Review to design, yeah, we're going to need some there. And that looks good because we want our document owners and admin to be able to that. And again, if I go to this design, master to design, it should already be populated out because we messed around with that master already. Security, we're going to add our groups. We're going to allow document owners to modify that. We're going to allow contractors to modify that. Admin, of course, but not read-only. We're going to allow document owners to delete. We're going to deny contractors the ability to delete, and we're going to allow the admin to delete. And then, of course, everyone gets the download. And then control. This is not one. We do not want to publish designs. That's through our issued, so that is going to be left alone. So then we can go to our issued. We can start working on these transitions. I do want to add transitions from issued to design because we will be making some changes there. Contractors can't, read-only can't. Issued to review. Let's say we're going to make some transitions here because there could be you issue something out to the field and it's good to go. So we're going to let the document owners do that. We're going to deny contractors the ability to do that. And of course, our read-only. Issued to master, yes, but that one should be filled out because we already messed around with master. Issued to design, there's that tab again. That one should be filled out because we've already filled out design. Issued to review, we'll need to do that. And, I mean, this is not issued to review, review to issued. And on this one, I'm just going to deny all these because we want it to go to design first. And then master to issued, again, that one should be already taken care of. Yep. Security, add our groups. Because this is an issued drawing and we want to encourage people to move this to design before they do any changes to it, we're going to deny modification on the issued because we want to control that copy. A lot of picks and clicks. This is why user groups are nice because I'm only I can have as many users as I want as long as they fall into one of these 4 groups. We're good. If you put users in here, then you're going to have to manage it a little bit more closely, and you're going to have to do a lot more picks and clicks there. Control. This is a release state. We do want the field again using the web client to be able to view these drawings, so we make it a release state. Hit apply, and then we can go down to review, transitions, and honestly most of these should be filled out already except for the first one, of course, what I try to show you. So yes, we want to be able to have people move this into review to design just in case there are changes, but not a contractor and not a read-only. This one's good, that one's a master, that one should be good. This one should be filled out, and then this one should be filled out as well. So that's good. Security, again, you see a lot of the same stuff. In a review state, we do not want any modification. Actually, we're going to allow document owners and admin to make changes in the review state, but not anyone else. And then we're going to deny deletion. We want to move it. We want them to only be able to delete in the design stage. And then control, not an issued. This is review, so it's not an issued. It's not going out to the field, so we're not going to check anything here. So there's our first life cycle that we've created. Design, issued, review, and master. And those are going to be applied to electrical and mechanical categories. So you can hit apply, okay. And then I'm just going to make it really quick. Supporting doc lifecycle, and we're going to assign that to the supporting doc category. And we're going to make two states. We're going to make master, and we're going to make edit, because these aren't going to go through the review process like the CAD drawings do. So this will go real quick. In master to edit security, we only want document owners and admin to make that change, and then edit to master again. Same thing. Same thing. Security. This is a master state, so no one's able to modify in the master state. No one's able to delete. Everyone's able to download. And then control, this is a release state, so we're good there. Then we can go to edit. That's not released. Security, kind of working backwards here through the tabs. We do want to allow modification on everyone except read-only. We do not want our contractors to delete. We can let our admin delete. Oop. It's supposed to be allow. And then transitions, that should be done already because we messed around with that before. So there's our supporting docs lifecycle, and that's just toggling back and forth to do edits. And you see this check mark? That's the default whenever you bring in a new file and assign it a category. This is the state it's going to be assigned. We do not want it to be master. We want it to be edit. So we're going to move that check mark to edit. You can also just double click, or should be able to double click on the state that you want to be default. And I believe in our CAD lifecycle, yeah, design is default, so that's good. I like those new files to come in a design or edit state and then be moved to that release state. A little bit more control over that. So good. So now we can go back to categories and look at one of these categories, and you can see that the CAD lifecycle is now on that, but it's not checked marked. So we do need to change that. So we can go to assign, just double click on CAD lifecycle. Go to mechanical, assign, double click. And then supporting docs, assign, double click. All right, so that's set up some basic categories and the life cycles and permissions on those life cycles. In the next video, we're going to start going over properties. We can change the properties. We can actually create maps, links from our AutoCAD drawings to our Vault properties. So we have a back and forth read-write relationship between our CAD files and Vault. Very handy. I'll show you how to set that up, and after that we'll go into how to start adding some files. So thank you. Appreciate you watching, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments.